All right, so here we have this Jeep. I'm not exactly sure what year it is, but it you can tell it's not your standard Jeep. It's got like a truck bed style, same bed sides we had on that Jeep that we used to race a couple years ago. Basically, the customer contacted us. He wanted our front and rear suspension, and he was going to build this whole thing himself. And as you can tell, he got this far, and then he actually sent it out to us so we can wrap up pretty much where he left off. Get the front shock mounts dialed in, the bump mounts dialed in, get the radiator and the oil coolers mounted, all that stuff plumbed up, and wrap up the wiring, get a bumper on it, a couple little odds and ends. It's not your average front Jeep suspension. It's our A-arm kit with a Spider Tracks 9-inch front diff, and it's got their big hubs, unit bearing hubs and everything. We built all the cross members, the steering, the A-arms, spindles, and out back it's got our billet short course 4-link. We supplied all the shocks, all the parts, basically sent it to him all on a pallet. He's in North Dakota. Sent him all that stuff, and he got it this far, and we're just gonna wrap it up from here. It's got a pretty nasty LSX in it. He said it should be around 850 horse, so that'll be a lot of fun. And on his to-do list, the last thing he said, go jump it and do some burnouts. So, you know I'm gonna do that. So it'll be fun to get this thing wrapped up and all dialed in, and then he said he's gonna come out and go have some fun with it, maybe put some paddles and go to Glamis and kind of enjoy some Southern California, you know, weather. So I think he's snowed in right now. So yeah, hoping to have this thing wrapped up probably a month or so. We'll have this thing all done and ready to go. Got the rear all taken apart, cycled, mocked everything back up after taking a bunch apart and changing a couple brackets and tabs. Getting our sway bar arms fit on it. The customer was worried about it getting a little tight on the bump stop, but we got plenty of room now. Retabbing the bottom, redoing the brake lines on the rear end housing, tying in the brake line bulkhead tab in there with our sway bar tabs like we always do. Moved the air compressor down, took the oil coolers off the back. They're gonna go up behind the grill where the radiator would go. Then we got the radiator up here in the back, which is pretty much done, mounted. Gotta plumb it all in. But gonna get everything done on the back, do some panels, and then move on to the front, flip this thing around and finish off the front. And then ready for some plumbing. Gonna redo some fuel lines, and obviously the oil lines and trans lines will be up front now, so redoing those. And then, yeah, and then wire this thing up and go drive it. Quick little update on the Jeep project we got in here. We got the back pretty much all back together. We got the new limit strap location all set. Got the sway bar all tabbed out. Got to touch everything up with paint, build new brake lines. We tied in the brake line bulkhead fitting. We'll go there with that guy, and then we'll do all stainless hard lines up to the center points. We're gonna do some panels on the sides. We did do bedside mounts. You can see that right here. So we'll probably take these off, get them powder coated when we do, after we do the side panels. But we've got radiator mount all done with some little compression points there. And then the race lights mounted, double whip, GPS antenna, radio antenna, extra backup light over there. Everything was kind of mounted on like some billet, like clamp-on deals. So we eliminated all those just to clean everything up in the back and tidy it up. And then next we'll just do some 1.5-inch aluminum hard lines all the way to the front for the radiator. And then yeah, we'll check out what we're doing on the front. So the front, as you can tell, there's nothing really left here. Customer made a bump pad off the side of the arm right here. It used to be right there, so we cut that off. We'll make a new one that just matches the arm a little better. And we got to make a whole new shock mount. There's a setup that was in there, just it probably would have worked, but it's just not how we do it. And then he cut the AR mount right here and dropped the front of the arm to get room for the radiator in the front. But obviously the radiator's in the back now. So we're gonna fix this pivot, build it back up, get the geometry back to where we had it set, and then put the front end back on and start building a shock mount and engine cage. And then we're gonna mount the engine oil cooler and trans cooler up front where the radiator will be. And then that simplifies all the plumbing too. It'll make all the plumbing nice and short. We won't have all those lines running to the back. We're probably gonna cut the frame off somewhere right here and here, and then do a nice angled pre-runner style bumper on it. And probably tuck the winch behind the skid plate. Just kind of clean this thing up, give it that clean pre-runner look that he wants. And then, yeah, it's moving along pretty good. We're almost done with all the fab, and then we'll wrap up all the plumbing and wiring, and then hopefully it just fires right up and we can have some fun.
I like this. I like this. I like this.
Oh, God. So cute. We encourage puppies. If you ever come to visit me and we're closed to the public, just bring a dog and I'll let you in. Yeah. Look at Emma, it's like, what? What is it, Emma? Hello. Hello. All right, small little update on the Tundra, and I'm gonna try to do it while holding Bullet here. The customer brought in his dog and it's just too fluffy not to hold. So anyway, we tied in the lower A-pillar here with, we did this all at an 1/8" chromoly. We wanted to gusset this corner since on this tube right here, I didn't want to bend that tube down to the corner because that's where another tube will eventually be here, diving into this corner. And to avoid like a dead tube zone, we just boxed this whole thing right here with 1/8" chromoly. So it builds up this corner nice and strong. And then once this tube ties in right here, up to another down tube, it'll keep that tube from kind of being a dead tube in this zone. And it's nice and strong for any like rocks or anything that want to deflect up into this area. So just a small update there. We go to the back. We got the rest of like the floor tubes for the rear done. And then we have seat brackets that we're making for the back seats. So like this guy will be there. We still got to add the bolt holes in, but there'll be one on each side for each rear seat, and then we'll make another tab section here for the other side of the seat. So there'll be 2 seats in the center. Went over that before. And then we added an X right here in the middle of this removable section. We needed access to that rear roll-up window because the owner wanted to keep that feature. So that all still comes out and you could access that no problem. And then started on the aluminum in the back. Evan's got these just kind of roughed out and clamped on for now. And we still got to add Zeus buttons and finish all the edges, tip all the edges, and do some bead rolling in them. And then, yeah, pretty straightforward on the rear panels. There's another one here. So it's pretty much just 3 panels per side. And then we might do a filler on the top right here around the shocks, just to kind of close that in. And then on the top in the middle, we're gonna get tricky with a big piece of expanded metal or mesh or something like that, because the radiator goes in there and I wanna protect that thing. So we'll have a big panel that drops in the rear with a mesh on it, but that's, yeah, pretty much that's it for the updates on that thing right now. Hey Emma, say hi to your friend. All right, here's something pretty cool and new. This is our lower arms that are for our 2011 to 2019 and 2020 GM 2500, 3500. And that works for gas, diesel, dually, or just regular truck. This is the lower arm for our coilover conversion. So we got them all tacked together. The end still takes a ball joint. This is all machined 4130. Still got a sway bar hookup. The shock mount's gonna go here. Gotta run Delrin bushings on the pivots, and it'll be all TIG welded 4130. And that's just part of our bolt-on coilover kit that we're coming out with, or came out with. So that's pretty cool. Excited to burn all those up. You know, we got 10 sets going right now, and I think we got to build 10 more of them. So pretty cool. We'll go check out what's going on in the mill and lathe. His little paw. What's up, Max? What do you got going on over here?
We're running some Raptor upper control arms and some spacers for the Raptor control arms as well.
Well, there you go.
Like this. Like this. Like this. Like this.
Yeah, we pretty much got them all. One op is already done. This op is doing the threads in the end. So this op goes pretty quick because it's just running 2 arms at a time, just tapping the threads on the ends. And then basically, where do you got them over here? Yeah, so basically that's like a pair right there. We get them to this point, and then, you know, like I showed you, doing the threads, and then the last step will be face down, and then it'll do the slot for the pinch bolt. It'll do the uniball bore, and then knock off all the rest of this, and then they're ready for anodize. Oh, there you go. Look at those nice threads. Ooh, yeah, they go in there. And here, these are just the upper misalignment spacers for the Raptor arms. So we're just running, I don't even know how many. We're making 10 sets of those right now. So what is that? 4, 8. Each set gets 8 of these. So we're running quite a few of those right now. And then after these are done, we'll go to like the spindle uniball side spacers. But yeah, just trying to keep those things running all day long. See what they got going on the other side of the shop. You do like that speed up where it like shows them walk all weird. All right, small update on the white ZR2. We got the front suspension all mocked up. We got the upper arm mounts welded in place, all set. Frames plated, everything's pretty much done. The diff is back in, the steering's back in. We got it set at full bump right now. We got the shocks just kind of setting in there, but we went with a pretty big shock package on this, the 3.5 bypass with finned reservoirs, so you can see how big this reservoir is. And then the coilover is a 2.5 internal bypass coilover with the big finned reservoir, swivel resi with the big compression adjuster. And then the top of the 2.5 also is a swivel top, so you can point that reservoir anywhere we want it. Got the bump stop off the back. This one's got a lot of stuff under the hood, so we couldn't really do the bump off the top without just moving the computer and a bunch of other stuff. So we're just leaving it off the back there. It'll still work good and just help us out under the hood a little bit. But pretty much just got to finish that shock mount in the engine cage and then take everything back apart, powder coat, anodize everything, paint the frame, and then bolt this thing back together, and it's ready to go.
I like this. I like this. I like this. I like this. I like this.
Tell us what you've done in here so far. You got some sheet metal patched up in there. Some, by some, I mean a shit ton.
Yeah, some pretty big holes on this one. We had all the bolt-on plates that had to fit through the cab at some point, so now we're closing it all up. Big patch in the front. Just finished that one. We got one more up here, then we're going to brace the body a little bit more and mount some seats. This thing will basically be wrapped up, but now it's probably getting a dash. And
Yeah, now it's getting a custom dash and a not a stock steering column, so we'll probably tie in from there down to here and do some console in it as well. Still another bar needs to come in here for seat belts, and obviously the seats. But
yeah, I just wanted to close up the floor before we did the seat mount, so we're not in the way of doing that stuff. So get some seats in here pretty soon.
Like this.
check these welds out right here. You'll notice they're kind of like a goldish color. We use a silicon bronze, not silicone bronze, silicon bronze filler rod. It melts at a way less temperature than regular filler rod, and it reduces the warping, and it also has a little bit of flex characteristics in it. So if anything wants to move around, this will take up some of that, this will absorb some of that, that movement. It's just what I've always done for sheet metal patches. If you notice on all the other trucks, it's what we do on everything. See, some of the holes are kind of bigger. Some we cut out extra just to get rid of some of the weird, awkward, extra holes in the frame, or these up ribs and stuff everywhere. This one had a big hole right here from factory, so we just cut all the way out around that and just patched right over it to make one nice, seamless patch right there. And yeah, pretty much almost done with the floor. We've got to patch up these guys up here. And then we'll do sheet metal tie-ins on all the pillars, like you've seen on all the other trucks. Yeah, it's coming along really good.
Like this. Like this. Like this.
If you like what you see on our videos, you can be a small part of it by buying a hat. Make sure to head on over to Kibbetech.com. We got hats, glasses, shirts. We got stickers. We're gonna have some sweatshirts pretty soon. We got some camo hats on the way. We got black and gold hats. We got sunglasses. It's got a bunch of cool stuff. So go check it out, Kibbetech.com.
Like this.